Today, we're talking about 5 tips to help your youth group connect better.
Welcome to the Ministry Coach Podcast, where we give you weekly tips and tactics to help you fast track the growth and health of your youth ministry. My name is Jeff Lascola, and this is
Kristen Lascola, and today we're talking all about how to ramp up the connections that are in your youth group, because, sometimes you can just sense it, can't you? When
it's just
you're
off.
Yeah, and it's hard, and it can be in big groups, medium groups, small groups. It's like youth pastors, I think, bear the weight when the connection game is off a little bit. So today we're going to talk about ways that in tactics, we have 5 of them, that you might be able to get people feeling connected, because we know that healthy relationships and healthy connections breed growth, because people want to be where they're connected. We were built for relationships. So number 1, we have to say it. If you haven't already broken your kids into small groups, that's the number 1 way to get people connected. At our church, even up till the adult level, we call them life groups. That's the number 1 vehicle for discipleship. You cannot really disciple any students in a large group because there's just no... It's not for lack of good intention. There's just no opportunity for depth or to get to know people, or for people to open up, for people to share, for people to ask questions that are pertaining to their life specifically, praying for each other, all those things. And that's what fellowship is really built around.
Yeah.
Just that large group is it's fun and there's a place for it, but it's just not where connections are going to happen. You and I had gone to a church when we were just friends, like a group of us had gone to another church, like Sunday nights. It was like a professor at a college. He was also a pastor. And we went there for 2 years, never met a soul, never met one person.
That one greeter.
The one
really
greeter
nice.
Recognized us.
It was his job to get to know us.
And that wasn't even a big church.
No.
I would say there was on Sunday nights, like about 100 people or something, if that. Maybe like 75 people in this room. We had gone for 2 years. Not one person knew our name.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because people weren't friendly or nice or they were cliquey. We always try to come up with a reason why. It's because we weren't in a small group at that church. Right. We weren't in a life group or whatever your church calls it. There was no opportunity. What is someone going to do? Just go up to you and be like, hello, my name is John, and let's talk about your life. That's just not the vehicle for connection. So,
but that's so John. I could see him doing that.
He would do that. He's so nice. He would ask.
He should be on the greeting team.
He would pray. I don't even know what John you're thinking of.
All of them, I guess.
All the Johns. So if you're dragging your feet and you are afraid to launch a small group, maybe because you have a smaller youth group or something like that, or you don't have enough leaders, well, now's the time to recruit the leaders. And hey, if your small groups are 2 kids here, 2 kids there, whatever, it's better than nothing. It really is, because here's why. We need to group people, because you might be thinking, well, my youth group is a small group, but is it? Now, a small group, if we're going off a technical definition, okay, fine, a small group of people. And that's subjective even. What is a small group? It depends what you're used to.
Right.
So let's just say that your youth group is 10 people and you're like, that's way too small. It already is a small group. But if you're going off the ministry definition of a small group, it may not be a small group, because
do tell.
I'm so glad you're interested, Jeff, because here's what a small group should be by definition. It should be a group of people that are grouped together by commonalities with the potential for life connection. So, for example, the easiest way to do that, to start, you can go deeper and deeper in layers, but first, let's just start by grade. Okay. So you're going to probably have something in common with people your own age. So we have 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade small groups. Another very easy line is gender. Well, this is 6th grade girls, 6th grade boys, 7th grade girls, 7th grade boys, stuff like that. And then if you could even go a step further, then now you base it off of similar vibe or similar type. Because we know, just because like people do this to me all the time, they'll be like, hey, there's a female pastor down at this church. You and her should hang out. Okay.
She breathes air and so do you.
Wait. So let me get this straight. You're a girl in ministry. She's a girl in ministry. Matchmaker, make me a match. We are best friends. That is no more silly than you just saying you're an 8th grade girl. You're an 8th grade girl. Best friends. Done. Right. No. That's not how it works. Because you and I both know you've got these different vibes and pockets. Now, this isn't being cliquey. This isn't being exclusive. This is being the opposite. This is being very inclusive and making sure you're grouping people with people that they have the best possible chance of connecting with. Now, I'm going to pause on that for a second because this is one of the most common mistakes I see youth pastors make is they do this weird, and I think it's with 100% good intention.
I know where you're going.
You do.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about it before. I think even on this podcast briefly once, but they have this weird idea that they are going to breed connections between people that have nothing in common in the name of inclusion. And I'm sorry, that is not how the real world works. And you know how I know? Because that's not how it works in your own life.
Right.
So you are attracted to certain people. Now, pause again. We teach students to be kind to everyone, regardless if they're your vibe or your type or whatever. You're kind to everyone. You can include everyone like in your game and stuff like that. But who are you making a life connection with?
I think that's the difference there. You're talking first. You said inclusion, and I think they would have inclusion. It's the connection.
Yeah. So, but like,
which just sounds like what you're more leaning towards.
Inclusion in what way? You know what I mean? Like we're all playing dodgeball. I'm not going to say no, you can't play. So inclusion in that sense of like, yeah, everyone can hang out, everyone can play, but not everyone's in this small group. Not everyone's, you're in your small group. I'm in my small group. Like I have a bunch of 8th grade girls. Well, half of them are crop top wearing boy crazy drama queens that love Jesus and are very sweet, but they're all the same vibe. Yeah. And then I have the quiet, more introverted, homeschooled, like more studious, couldn't care less about a boy. And it was awful when they were in the same small group together because it was like
nothing in common.
They basically had a line down the middle themselves. And I think youth pastors want to say mingle, mesh. And it's like the same with you. You know people at church that you say hi and you're friendly to and you like them, but you also know who you're going to call to like go on a camping trip or to come over for dinner or go golfing with. It's not going to be everybody.
Yeah. Or open up to and be real with. Yeah. You know, and that it's not, you're just not going to pick some random person at church. It's like, well, we're at the same church. I need to include you. Yeah. Let me tell you about all my struggles in my life.
Yeah. And I think that we just have to admit that that's okay because it is.
Yeah.
Being kind to everyone is the expectation. Connecting with everyone is not the expectation. So as the relationship architect that you are as a youth pastor, you're putting people in circumstances where with the highest likelihood that they will connect. So all this type, I'm sorry, you're typing them. You study your kids. Yeah. And, you know, I did that on Tuesday. There was this girl, she was brand new. She's homeschooled, so sweet, wanted to participate in everything. And she was standing all by herself during worship. And I went up to her, I'm all, hey, I'm like, I'm so glad you're back. She goes, I feel so weird. I'm standing alone in the middle of the room, but I really like this spot. I'm like, good for you. Like, you do you. And, you know, I sat with her for a little bit, and then a girl across the room caught my eye who was kind of doing the same thing. She was with a couple other girls, but she's like a really solid girl. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're so the same vibe. And so I didn't just pick any girl in the room and be like, you're a girl, right. Be friends. You know, it was like, ooh, I just made a match, you know. When I went over to the girl, the other one, I said, hey, she's kind of new. She's by herself. I think you and her are a same vibe. Do you want to go sit? She's like, oh my gosh, where is she? And they sat together. And then I kind of looked at them later and they were kind of chatting and, and I was like, I think I made a match, So as the youth pastor, we kind of study our kids. And if a kid isn't connecting, you kind of need to figure out, well, who can I pair them with? Who can I place them with? Do they need to switch small groups? Are they even in a small group, And you're that relational chemistry architect because there's different types of kids. Put those types together. If there's one who stands out and doesn't really fit anywhere, put them with the really nice kids that are going to include them no matter what. And, you take those situations as they come, but you want to put people similar together. That's kind of the bottom line.
So put your hierarchy on small groups. Let's say you have a group of your entire youth ministry is 10 kids, not a huge youth group. Let's say 5 guys, 5 girls. What's your hierarchy of splitting them down into small
I think
groups?
I would probably start with gender first, and then I'd go grade, and then I'd go vibe. Unless the vibe was so stark that it was slapping me in the face, Because let's say there's a 15-year-old girl and a 12-year-old girl, but they're a similar vibe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think I'd have to take that case by case.
Okay.
Because I feel like you could connect with the same vibe over same age sometimes.
Okay. But the definite one obviously would be gender.
That would be for me. I mean, other people could do it differently, but that'd be
and this is obviously assuming you have the leaders to split as many times as you possibly need.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you need to start putting those things into, because people are like, we're not big enough for that. And it's, again, that hard backwards engineering thing, because it's like, but if people aren't connecting, you're never going to grow, right, and you're never going to get to that size. So maybe just get some really great leaders who are going to fuel relationships, split kids, even if it's tiny, and then try to bank on that relational fuel will grow your group.
Yeah.
But if you keep waiting for the people to come, well, if there's no relational clout, what are they coming for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you can't wait till, oh, yay, we have 20, 30, right, 40 kids. Now we can split. It's like, well, what are they coming for? Is there something, when I had 11 kids, when I first started youth ministry, I had small groups.
Right.
I mean, so just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. And then there's the blessing in a sense of having that small group to that's going to be your best discipleship, because there's so much focused energy on a small group of kids.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to grow, and that's a good thing. But if you're not growing in size, by all means, you should be growing in the health in pouring into those students.
Yes.
And in turn, it should produce more students.
Yeah.
And if you're just, like you're saying, if you're waiting, we'll wait until and I don't think anyone ever actually thinks that. We'll wait till we get big before we blah, blah, blah. But I think that's a subconscious thought.
Sure.
Maybe we'll start doing some of these things when we're big enough, when we have enough of this, when we're this. But it's start being the ministry you want now.
Yeah.
And building around that, because you need to have the systems in place to withstand any growth.
To support it.
That's a better word. Because you don't want to be playing
first.
backwards and constantly playing catch up and oh shoot, now we doubled in size, but I only have the one leader that's helping me. Guess what? Now you're probably going to lose the kids you got because there's not enough people
And I will be honest, that weird growth limbo is hard when you're building something before the growth comes. It feels odd. It feels weird. It doesn't feel, but those are the leadership challenges,
right.
It's always take the long view, when it comes to those kind of things.
So that's small groups, which by the way is such a Christian word or term, small groups.
Small groups.
When I was in college, it was on the door to a meeting room of the dorm we were in. And it said whatever it was called, something small group. Someone opened the door, they just go, what the heck is a small group? We're really short people. Get out of here. It's just funny because I was like, wait, what the heck? Why do we call it small groups? Because you were at a public
college.
100%. San Diego State. Go Aztecs. This is being recorded before the championship game, so who knows what'll happen. But
that was a pretty good game this weekend.
It was. Yeah, big time party school, not necessarily big time Christian school. But hey, I was a light on the campus. At least I like to think I was.
You were. FCA, go. Okay, so number 2. Number 2. So play games that kind of banking off what we just talked about, play games that use small groups as a team. Okay, so now you have small groups. We are the same gender, we're the same grade, we're the same vibe. And now how are we going to architect us actually connecting? Because all the ingredients are there. How do we ignite the spark? We need things that they can connect over. Small group, it will happen, but we can fast track that a little bit because like we even know in our Bible study with the adults, like we come every Thursday, we chat about the Bible study, this and that. But when we went, what did we do for our we did an escape room, and then we, so every time you do like a relational thing, we went out to dinner, you guys went bowling. So that kind of starts to pour a little gasoline on the relational pace. So take that idea with your small group. So what I like to do embedded in a program night is play a game that uses the small groups as the teams. So like we usually play a game like boys or girls or blue versus red team or whatever it might be. But there are a couple games I'm going to give you today that are very easy to use small groups as the teams themselves. So Pop It Like It's Hot, human curling, and even a 9-square competition. We'll link those episodes below if you need a refresher of how to play those. But it's so cool, like on a program night, watching the small group work together, cheer together, cheer each other on. And that kind of creates this bond. And the reason I like it on a youth group night is because it's not an extra thing. Here's a win. A youth pastor win in any situation when you can kill two birds with one stone. So it's like you embedded an event within an event. Like we have this whole night called like small group competition, and they all get a different color that they're going to wear. And then we play small group competition all night. So that's like what I'm talking about on steroids. Like, so throughout the month, rotate how you divide your team. So, 4 youth groups in a month. Do boys versus girls, do every man for himself, do small group teams, and then do grades. You can divide teams in all kinds of ways, but make sure you're not neglecting to have small groups be a team. And then that small group competition night is super fun. Like when you launch small groups, if you have a specific season where they like are brand new or renewing, it's a really fun thing to do. And it's a little more of a hype night, but it's on a regular program night. So it's not an extra thing I have to plan. It's just a specialty night. And then this kind of doubles down on that idea, but number 3 is a small group night out. So this one I only do once a year. I think our high school ministry does it twice a year. And basically each small group is responsible for planning their own night out. So we're doing ours next Tuesday. Instead of the kids coming to youth group like normal, we've been promoting our small group night out for like 3 weeks now. Each small group leader comes up with their own thing. Like we're going to go to the trampoline park, and then we're going to go to In-N-Out, and then, we're going to come back to the church, whatever. So they give me all their details. I make them a flyer, get them a permission slip. They pass it out. I email it to the parents. And then when the night finally comes, they all do their own fun thing. So it's a little bit of a logistical headache, and that's why I only do it once a year, because it's basically a night where I have like 12 events going on at the same time, and it is quite a bit to prepare, but it is so fun. And then they all send me pictures. We post the pictures on our story or use them for different things, and it's like the first time they've hung out together outside of youth group. And there's like a little bit of magic that happens, like meeting at a different location.
I've noticed that we happened at our life group.
We met at someone's house instead of meeting at the church. And like, it was a whole new vibe
in a good
dynamic.
way.
And it just was a little more festive.
Right.
And some small group leaders will do that. They'll have the kids over at their house, like if they have a pool or a spa, or they'll do like, the girls will do like nails and face masks and pizza and stuff. And like just being at your small group leader's house is kind of cool. We have one small group leader, he's having it at his house, and he has like a pond and a zip line and stuff for his own kids and his yard. And so the boys are gonna like float in the pond and have a bonfire and roast hot dogs, kind of like a mini camp out. So there's just a different level of intimacy and excitement and bonding and going out too,
Right.
you know, just doing something fun, just getting out of that normal environment. So I would plan that once or twice a year, I think is enough. I mean, if you have a smaller group, it's probably easier. The only reason I don't like doing it a ton is for the sake of visitors. So if I get a new kid who decides I'm going to try that youth group for the first time on April 11th, well, guess what? We're not there. So, and I just don't want to do that too often. I do post the flyers on the door like, hey, 7th grade boys went here. I mean, that'd be weird to kind of show up to that the first night, but I want them to know there's an explanation why we're not here doing normal youth group. So that's one downside to it. So once in a while is fun.
So that's three ways to connect the individual into a smaller group of the larger group. Correct?
Yes.
Now you have a couple that talk about and connecting the entire group together, right?
Yeah, in a sense. So I think depending on the size of your group, doing a guys' night and a girls' night event could be really fun. Our high school ministry does this a lot, and I used to do it more than I do now. But like if you're hoping like the guys will connect or find their people and the girls will connect or just have a fun, then hey, Friday night the girls are doing a movie night and some like our girls like to do crafts like Pinterest crafts and stuff, you know, plan a whole craft fun night for them. And then the next weekend, you know, you could rent laser tag and have it set up by a company and do a guy's laser tag night, or rent a video game truck or whatever they want to do. And so that's just another way of connecting with a different size and type and group of people. And I've seen good things come out of that. And then another one, number 5, would be serving together. So this could take on a couple of forms. If your youth group is not huge, you could just take all of them and say, hey, we're going to go serve the homeless this weekend. We're going to whatever, like in your town, a great service project is. People really bond over serving and working side by side together. Again, it's a different change of the dynamic, just like the small group night out. It's kind of like, hey, we're doing something different and we're doing something good and we're working, like something about working alongside each other. And like, I mean, I have grown in my relationship with people so much just like doing tasks together and having to organize partnership and teamwork and all of that. So that's really healthy. And people kind of come alive when they serve, you know, there's something in them that just sparks this like new perspective and new meaning and new just like love for each other, I think, of working and serving together. So it could be like the people that are literally serving side by side. So like say you and I are both serving together in the 3-year-old classroom, and I got to know you because we were both trying to wrangle these 3-year-olds. So now I connected with you. But if we're serving on a bigger scale, like cooking a meal for the homeless, maybe I'm connecting with 50, I don't know what that was.
We did it.
15. I think I
Let
thought
the
I was
spirit flow, girl.
I was gonna like drool and I was trying to hold it in.
Oh, gross.
Like then you're connecting with everyone, like cooking and serving and cleaning and this. And so small scale and large scale serving does connect people. So if you're feeling like your youth group needs a boost of connectivity, serving is a great way to do that. Planning a service project or giving them serving opportunities.
Sometimes when you put students in that serving role, the natural reaction is to want to gravitate towards somebody you know. Because there's like there's a bunch of people who are serving. I don't know them, but I know you.
Yeah.
Kind of even.
Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden that person that maybe you sort of knew becomes really familiar because you know them way more than
100%.
the homeless person you're serving. And so it just innately builds this bond between you, you know.
I'm working on a large scale service project right now for our whole church, and people that I didn't know 6 months ago are like, I mean, we're chums now. And because you feel like, oh, we've been through so much together, you know?
The experience
which kind of bonds you, and they'll like, and it's the excitement too, like we're really doing this, you know, like wow. And the camaraderie of like partnership. And it's people that I normally would never have connected with in any other circumstance or way, because it's people of all different talents and jobs, but they're all coming together to make something happen. So there's something very magical about serving.
Yeah.
It's the Holy Spirit. It's not magic, obviously. It's the Holy Spirit, because that's what we're made to do. We're made to serve. And that is a underutilized connection tool, I think. So in youth groups anyways. So here's the bottom line, I guess, as we close. A big question to ask yourself as the youth pastor is, am I creating an environment for connection? Like, I think sometimes we're like, why aren't they connecting? If you were to pause and ask, like, try to put yourself in the perspective of a new person or someone who couldn't connect on their own, which most people can't, they're not like that confident person who's just like, I can be friends with anyone. I can talk to anyone. Right. I can, it's like they need us to create environments and experiences that are conducive to real connections. So are we doing that? And we could talk more about it, but like, I always try to think like, okay, you're brand new on a Sunday. What do you do with yourself? Can you just join in a game? Is there something for you to do? Is there a person who is greeting you and looking out for you? Don't ever put the ball in their court. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think like as an adult, like they need less help. Mm-hmm. You can't hold an adult's hand and be like, make friends, but you can create environments where that may come easier. Mm-hmm. And so for our students, are we creating environments where connection has even the possibility of happening? Or are we kind of sitting back and expecting like, well, be friends, guys. Right. Well, connect, guys. Like get away from that utopian mindset of like the way you wish things were, or people don't function like you. That's what I've really had to learn. Like you're the youth pastor because you are the friendly, outgoing, right. can connect with any one person. You like are the golden retriever. Not everybody is that, I've heard leadership described as animals before, and the golden retriever was like this, like, I'm friendly. I know you. Hey, let's hang out. Let's play. Let's throw a ball. Let's like do something together. But not everyone's like you. Yeah. So are you creating environments for a lot of different types of people to have an opportunity to connect? I think that's a big part of the job of a youth pastor. And that takes some strategy. Like relationship is a lot of strategy. Yeah. Don't underestimate that. And that will be the growth engine,
It's awesome. Well, there you go. Right, there's 5 ways that you can help your students connect. Now let's play.
I'm so excited. This has become my favorite part of the podcast.
Let us know in the comment section if this is your favorite.
Yeah, because if you don't like it, we'll just play by ourselves afterwards.
This is the Fabulous 4 trivia game. Yay! And this week
I like how you always say yay.
Yay! This week is about it's trivia about Super Mario Brothers.
Oh. Okay.
Because of the movie that was just released.
Ooh. And did you know there's Super Mario Land, I think, at Universal Studios now?
I did hear that.
I really want to go.
It's time for some fun. Let's play the Fabulous 4 trivia game. Yay.
Okay. Question number 1. Originally an arcade game, in what year was Mario Brothers released?
What year? 80 something?
Yeah, let's narrow it down though. Let's not pick a decade.
84.
You were close. It was 83. So, number 2. Who is the evil version of Mario?
Wario.
Oh, good job. Correct. What arcade game featured the first appearance of Mario?
I was hoping you'd ask. Donkey Kong.
Correct.
I used to play Donkey Kong. The old one.
Finally.
Where you just jumped over barrels.
Yes.
Remember he would throw them and you...
This is not the question. This is a bonus question.
Okay.
What characters were originally going to be in the game? It wasn't called Donkey Kong. What characters were going to be in the original game that eventually became Donkey Kong?
I have no idea.
Popeye, Olive Oyl, and Brutus.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder if our listeners, like the younger ones, even know
Like,
who
what are you
Popeye
talking
is.
about?
Like, okay, comment below. If you are under 30, do you know who Popeye is?
I would hope so.
I don't know. I haven't seen Popeye in a long time.
He makes chicken.
No, he eats spinach. Quite the opposite.
Okay. What? Final question. What power-up icon gives Mario firepower?
The flower.
Good job. Correct.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
I wanted you to have to think at least about one of them because I feel like when you don't get it immediately, you're like, what a stupid question. What year?
well, how would anyone know that? There's
People
a
that
lot of
know.
years.
There are.
That should have been
Pick one.
that should have been multiple choice.
All right, this is the community comment of the day. This comes from, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this name right, so I'll give it two versions. Zippora or Zippora, whichever.
I think it's Zipporah.
Zippora?
Mhm.
Okay.
Because I think that's a name in the Bible.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep.
All
I
right.
see you, Zipporah.
She says, thank you so much. This has given me so many ideas. Your ministry and podcast are awesome. Thank you.
You are welcome, Zipporah.
You are
and
welcome.
you were the first Zipporah I've ever met. So I love it.
That may not be her real name, but if it is, cool. If not, that's a cool handle on
Cool either
YouTube.
way.
Cool, dude.
Cool.
You see, cool is a term created by Popeye in the 1940s. Just kidding.
Yeah. What year did Popeye come out?
I
That's
don't
gotta be
remember, but I
really
think it was
old.
black and white. I
Yeah,
think.
I would think. He was way
A
old.
sailor made for kids. Not even close. A sailor made for kids to
Not
eat
even
spinach.
close. That was
You know, it's
spot
a
on.
weird story. I used to like watching Popeye, but I would like to eat cheese during it, and I pretended it was spinach.
Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome to the Ministry Coach Podcast, where we give you stuff that you like. Sometimes.
Weepy.
I got that confused. That's what we're going to end it with. And then you can do more. Nom, 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 nom.